Welcome back to the Bonsai Builders podcast. Like always, I'm your host, Addison Galambos. I just got back from 2 weeks travel in Japan for the Kokufu 100th anniversary show. And all I can say is that it was a trip of a lifetime. I'm sorry for missing an episode last week, but wanted to keep 100% of my focus on the show. While I was there, I kind of took some folks to the side at the exhibit hall, outside the exhibit hall, just during my travels as well, to talk a little bit about bonsai and their feelings from the show. So what's going to follow is kind of clips of those little mini interviews. So talking with multiple different people, multiple different perspectives, and getting their insights into the show. I hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome to Kokufu. You might hear a little bit of background noise here. We are at the show currently. This is day 2. I wanted to do a little segment where I kind of talk to folks that are here at the show and kind of see what their first impressions are. So I'm here with Matt from the Rocky Mountain Bonsai Society. I've loved looking at your work on Instagram, so it's great to meet you in person. Would you mind just telling me a little bit about your experience so far in Japan?
Yeah, thanks, Addison. This is my first time to the Kokufu. It's extremely impressive. Last year, I happened to just be in Japan for the Gafuten, the 50th of that, which was the Shohin exhibition. And this is just definitely more my jam. The trees are way more diverse, and I'm into big trees. Really loving everything here.
That's awesome. So you came to the show yesterday, the first day, right? Did you also visit the Green Club yet?
Yeah, so yesterday we started out, we saw the whole show, and did also visit the Green Club. There was like about 2 to 3 inches of fresh snow at the Green Club, so they were like...
It was kind of magical, though, honestly.
Exactly.
Right?
They were blowing off all the trees so that people could see them, and made searching through the bins of pots a little bit harder.
That it did, yeah. Stuff was like full of snow. It was like, okay, well, I guess I'm not looking at these right now.
Yeah, but we were definitely all wishing we could somehow get these trees back to the U.S. at the prices we saw.
I know. Well, you just see these trees, and it's like, okay, we're just 30 years or 20 years from having this, even if it's something that's fairly like rote or production over here, right, which hurts. But we've got, I guess, what's your thought on a lot of the Yamadori you've seen here versus, what you're used to in Colorado?
Yeah, so yesterday was walking around with some friends from Denver, and I mean, I'm not as deep into the Japanese bonsai scene as like you or Sam or some of the others that are here. And so it was questioning a lot, like, is this Yamadori, is this field grown? I don't necessarily have the insight to know, but it sounds like most of the junipers probably are Yamadori, and I was like,
I think so.
Pretty stunned with some of them, especially tree number 41. I was like, hey, I want to take that one home with me, but that was probably a 4-foot tree.
Yeah, there are a lot of trees I would love to take home with me. And it's cool seeing like the maples, like the one behind us with the plating, where it's like we haven't been growing maples long enough with the right technique to get those pancake nabari, right? Which is cool to see.
And you guys probably can't see it on the podcast, but Addison's looking at something that's probably like 2.5-3 foot pancakes spread into this huge, massive pot.
Yeah. You contrast that with the whenever you order pancakes here, they're actually quite small. So you got to be, if they knew more about bonsai at the pancake shops, maybe you'd get something a little larger. Cool. Yeah. I mean, just first impressions, like when you walk through the show the first time, what was going through your head?
Like extremely stunning. My trees are decades away from being this refined, I would say, but it's definitely something I'm hoping to strive for. Kind of in awe of all the deciduous. I don't have access to that kind of material in Colorado like we do for our conifers, and the dedication it takes to grow these things. Some of them have been shown at previous Kokufus. There's actually one we're looking at now. It's a white pine that was in the first Kokufu. So I mean,
no way!
At least over 100 years of cultivation as a bonsai for that tree. So it's all just really stunning to me.
It's so exciting to hear. I'm definitely mirroring the excitement that you have. So great to hear that. Well, last thing, anything that you want to suggest as a tip for folks if they're trying to come see Kokufu or a show in Japan in the future? Because it sounds like you've already been to 2 now.
That's a good question. Yeah, I got kind of lucky on the first one just with the timing coinciding, but I don't know if I have any tips, but I think it's definitely something that if you're into bonsai, come check it out, because it's like, it's going to blow your mind.
Well, it's only like $10 to get into as many times as you want.
And that was for your two show ticket. Mine was probably like $6 for the one show.
Wow, okay.
Unfortunately, I can't make the second half. I'm really envious of all of you that are getting to stay for that.
I did say last question, but I thought of one more, which is,
go for
is
it.
there a specific thing that you're trying to study in the first show, like that you want to try to bring to your own practice?
Oh, man, that's a really good question. I don't necessarily know that there is anything in particular. I just like in awe of the pads that they formed, and I think that I'd like to try grafting a few of my Rockies that I've collected. A few of them have some leggier foliage, and seeing these tight pads with the Japanese Shinpaku and Itoigawa foliage is making me a little envious.
Seeing it in its glory is cool.
Yeah.
And the degree of, I don't know what you want to call it, the degree of age or mochikomi or whatever that it can get to is impressive.
Yeah, it's really nice.
All right, well, I appreciate you taking the time.
I love your podcast, Addison. Thanks for having me on. And
yeah, of course.
Really enjoy following you on Instagram.
Yeah, where can people check out your work as well?
I'm Larchbud on Instagram. But yeah, other than that, I'm just a hobbyist, so nothing to plug or.
No. I really like a lot of your stuff. It really feels very, very mountain inspired a lot of times too. I really like that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much, and let's enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, sounds good.
All right, another little corner of Kokufu interview. I'm here with Michael Fontaine. Michael, could you introduce yourself and tell us when you got to Japan and your impressions so far of the show?
Michael Fontaine from Louisiana, United States. We got to the show, we got to Japan on Sunday, got to the show yesterday. I am way over impressed by what I have seen. I was not expecting it to be nearly as nice as it is, at least in my opinion. Maybe that's just because I'm not used to seeing this many high-quality trees all in one place, and maybe it's because the trees are just a whole lot better than in the past because of the anniversary time.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I've only been to one other Kokufu, but my impression is that they really brought their A game this year, so it was definitely the year to be here.
I am here with my daughter, who has never been to a bonsai show, and I can tell you she was blown away as well.
Wow.
Which is really cool for us.
Yeah, that's awesome to be able to kind of connect over a kind of shared interest, right? Or, passion for you and an interest for her, but yeah.
We've had a lot of fun. In fact, we went to the Green Club yesterday, and she actually bought several bonsai pots as well.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. So I know you were a little bit worried about kind of the logistics of getting around in Japan because you're not on a tour, is that correct? It's just
I
you
am
and
not
your
on
daughter?
a tour.
Yeah, so how has it been so far? Like anything that kind of sprung up as like, oh, that was actually kind of tricky to navigate, or has it been fairly smooth?
Nothing yet. Nothing yet. It's all been very smooth. The people here are unbelievably friendly. The place is very, very clean. We've been impressed not just with the show, but with Japan itself.
Is this your first time in Japan?
It's my first time in Japan.
Awesome.
It's my daughter's first time in Japan.
Yeah, what a first time.
It's wonderful. I'm so glad that I came.
Is there anything that surprised you about the actual Kokufu exhibit? Like, other than the quality of the trees, but I'm curious, like, the distribution of large trees and medium trees and small trees, or how they're displayed, like anything that kind of stuck out to you that you weren't used to seeing from U.S. exhibitions?
No, I can't say that. I can say that organizational-wise, the staff here is very friendly. They know how to direct you. You don't get lost here, and you don't get turned around here. It's all planned to flow in certain directions, and they keep it flowing in the certain directions, even as crowded as it can be sometimes. And the people who are looking at the trees are also extremely polite.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's the nice thing about Japan is even if you get lost a little bit or something like that, you're never unsafe, So, people will, maybe if they don't speak English, it might be hard for them to help you navigate, but they'll help you find someone who can help,
They will, but you also have the phone now, which you can do translate, and that's been helpful for us as well.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
You just use like some kind of translation app whenever you're talking with people? Oh,
yes.
Awesome. I'm glad that works well. Yeah, I think it's crazy that, they probably get multiple times the number of attendees as we do for U.S. exhibitions, and it's in a much smaller space, but they still manage to keep things flowing pretty well.
Oh, it flows really well.
Yeah.
Really, really well.
It has been relatively more crowded, though, than previous shows that I've been to.
It has?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's good to see. Maybe, hopefully that momentum keeps up after the 100th, and they keep putting on these amazing shows.
I hope so, because I thought this would be a one-time trip, And I know now that it won't be a one-time trip. I got the Japan bug. It won't be a year after year trip, but
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that you're going to take home to your own collection in terms of inspired by some species or some technique or, some size of tree or something like that?
When you look at trees of this caliber, for me, it means I go home and have a lot more work to do. But it's not an overwhelming thing. It's a attainable goal. And so that part is fun.
I love that mindset. I think that's how I'm trying to orient myself too. Like, these are amazing, but we can get there, Like, if
absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Applying techniques over many years, we'll get to the same level, hopefully. So
totally agree with that.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. I really appreciate you stopping for a chat, and glad you've been having a great time. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you, and thank you for all your help and advice for us to get.
Of course, no problem. Alrighty, I am here with Adam from the Nippon Bonsai Association at the exhibit. He is another fellow English speaker, I think one of the translators that kind of goes between multiple languages for folks. So Adam, I would love for you to just kind of introduce yourself and then give me kind of a little bit of insight into your relationship with the Nippon Bonsai Association.
Yeah, well, my name's Adam Webster. I'm originally from Australia, but I've been living here now for if we put it all together, about 17 years. So yeah, I started an apprenticeship a few years ago and didn't quite get all the way through. I did 4 years of the apprenticeship, but got to know the association, and got to know me. I know lots and lots of people in the industry, and so they asked me to come back every year for Kokufu and help out with foreign visitors. If they've got questions, or helping translate, or just being a friendly face here at the exhibition.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there are a lot of foreign visitors, actually. So I'm assuming you speak English and Japanese, and then any other languages, or
just
those are the main two?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that probably is very helpful, because it's very, I mean, having visited some of the nurseries and things like that, it's uncommon to find folks in Japan that speak English, and I'm working on my Japanese, but it's not very good yet. So what's the most common question that you've got at the exhibit so far?
There are two. Which one's the oldest?
Okay.
Which one's the oldest is a big one. And if you've been here, you might have noticed these little glasses of black powder
on the corners, right?
Yeah.
I actually have that question too. What are those?
We don't really know, but we think it's some kind of air purification system. It's a product that someone has developed, and I think since the COVID era, they've been putting it out on the tables.
Okay.
But I don't know the fine details, and every time that question comes up, I'm like, oh no, I don't really know. Yeah, so
that's so funny.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mystery. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I docent sometimes at the public collection near where I live.
Yeah.
And that's the most common question is how old, or which one's the oldest, right? Which is kind of funny in the bonsai context, but very cool, very cool. Take me back to your decision to apprentice, and were you intending to become a bonsai professional? Was that the kind of path you were taking, or how did that come about? I'm very interested in that journey.
Yeah. Well, I was a bonsai hobbyist in Australia. I loved it, and I'd come to Japan for a month at a time and spend time at a nursery learning. And after coming 2 or 3 times, Master Oyakata said to me, if you were to move to Japan, I'd gladly accept you as my apprentice. So I was married at the time, and I spoke to my wife, and she said, let's go. Let's chase your dream and make it happen. So yeah, moved back to Japan, and basically from day one, I was in the nursery.
Awesome.
And, learning and sweating and coming home sore and dirty. And,
it's hard work for sure.
That's the life. Yeah.
What kind of changed your mind, or what? I'm assuming you still pursue bonsai, but just as a hobbyist, or
that's right. Yeah. So I'm still very much connected to the bonsai world. I've assisted people with translation and wiring assistance in workshops and demonstrations. I've been around the world with Masayuki Fujikawa. He was an apprentice of Mr. Kimura, but now he's, of course, standing on his own 2 feet. He's an amazing artist himself. And we've been overseas together at to conventions.
So cool.
And he's demonstrating, I'm translating, and I'm helping
Oh,
him
so
with
cool.
wiring and things.
That's amazing.
So I'm still
You're
very
living
much
the dream.
connection
Okay,
with it, but I work now lecturer.
Oh, very cool. Here
Yeah.
in Japan.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's awesome. That's such a cool, path to tread through life, I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm kind of also trying to thread that needle of like, I don't really want to do bonsai as a profession, but I want to get really good at it, right? And so, that, especially in Japan, that's not typically like, they don't have that concept as much, right? Of like doing things at a professional level, but as a hobbyist. Like you're either a hobbyist or a professional, right? Which is kind of interesting. Just trying to study and improve, and hopefully we'll get good over time, right?
Man,
so
that's the goal.
Yeah, and like 4 years of apprenticeship plus your previous learning, like you get very good over that time frame doing bonsai every day for years. So.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident with working on trees.
Yeah, exactly.
These days. And
yeah,
and I feel as though I can see things that non-bonsai people can see. I can see the work that's been put in, the years that have been put in, the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah. That's the stuff that's so hard as like a foreigner visiting Japan for shows like this. Like I can admire the trees, but there's that level deeper of like who made the tree and like why is this one awarded over this one that like you really can't get without being steeped in actual community here, right? And so it's really cool that you're able to get that next level of understanding. Because I feel like at a surface level, you just see these amazing trees, but it's so much deeper than that since the art is so like historied here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. So was that who you trained under?
Fujikawa, no.
Oh, okay.
His name is Mr. Ishii.
Okay.
He's up in the country.
Oh, cool.
Little place. And he's getting old now. He's in his 80s. Or late 70s now, very late 70s. Yeah, so he's getting on.
Yeah, amazing experience to have had, and really impressive that you took that leap to shift your life and make such a big change and pursue it. That's really, really admirable, I think. So
thank you.
Very cool. Well, Adam, I really appreciate you taking the time. I don't want to keep you too much from your duties, but thank you so much for taking the time, and I'm hoping we stay connected, and I'll see you at the next Kokufu.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. All right, I'm here with Kyle on the exhibit floor of Kokufu Part 2.
Hello.
Last day. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah. I would love you to just kind of introduce yourself real quick, and then I saw you wearing one of those snazzy Nippon Bonsai Association jackets.
You actually caught that. I thought it was really hidden with the jacket on. Okay, yeah, my name's Kyle. I'm originally from Canada, and I've been on the Nippon Bonsai Association for about 2 years now, primarily just helping out with a lot of the events here that happen. I'm originally from Canada, and I moved back to Japan about 8 years ago now, and ever since then, well, even from Canada, I always had somewhat of an interest with nature specifically, not even bonsai.
Oh, interesting.
But like growing like gardens and stuff is something that I usually do in Canada. And then moving to Japan, I kind of realized that there wasn't a lot of space to work with. I'm sure you've seen like all of the apartments and whatnot around here. But bonsai was one of those things that you'd see like nurseries from time to time, especially if you're out of Tokyo, because I believe Saitama is one of like the capital for bonsai because they actually moved places. And then from there, one of the nurseries I reached out to, they have a son, which is around my age, around 29, 30. And then we just got along really well. And then I live near that nursery, probably around like 2 minutes from where I live currently.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And then he's just like, yo, you want to just come help out? He's a really cool, chill dude. And he was just like very interested in myself. And then from there, after I got off work, I would just like hit up his nursery, and then whenever he needed help with stuff.
Oh, cool.
And then he also learned that like I knew how to speak English, so he's like, yo, you want to just like help out as a translator?
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people know, especially when they come to Japan, that a lot of the people associated in the association are old people that really don't speak English, unfortunately.
Totally.
And unfortunately, it is a little bit of like a dying culture here.
Interesting.
With the younger generation, just because I just think due to how the world kind of works right now, especially with like the fast-paced nature and the whole social media aspect of things, the appreciation for slower things, and the fact that there's no really instant gratification within this kind of hobby
it's
kind of
really
like
not.
deters a lot of these individuals. But yeah, going back to what I was trying to say is that they just needed a translator to kind of help out with all the events. So me and this other dude that's like currently upstairs is an Australian man. Yeah, we just kind of help out
English
with
speakers.
Yeah, the only
nice.
two really. But aside from that, there are certain individuals like that do the apprenticeship for bonsai that come from, I believe, predominantly U.S. or Australia. While those guys can speak, perfect English, they're kind of the Japanese is a little bit on the weaker side.
Yes,
so.
yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
that
it's
before.
very rare. It's very rare that we're around.
It really is, yeah. So, would you consider yourself like a hobbyist in bonsai then?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
shuni? Is that like the right way that you would refer yourself?
Yeah,
in Japan?
I do get confused, or a lot of people get confused whenever they kind of talk to me, like, oh, you must be like an apprentice for so-and-so. And myself, I just kind of see myself as someone that really just likes it as an enthusiast, as a hobbyist, and just kind of help out wherever I can. I have a family of four, including myself. So I have two sons,
Okay.
children, and then my wife included. So time is kind of like really limited for myself.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like I'm unable to kind of like find myself time maybe throughout the whole month to kind of work on bonsai as much as I'd like to. If I was living by myself, I'd probably take an apprenticeship somewhere. I definitely would. Though it is 5 to 6 years, and it's kind of crazy how long that is. So
Yeah, it's a big commitment, and then you basically have to do it as a job after that.
yeah.
Right?
It's like a
You
job.
wouldn't do it casually.
Some
right?
places like not pay you, but they'll pay for like they'll accommodate your
yeah.
stay and whatnot. But yeah, it's just surreal, and I feel like the whole aspect of it is kind of like outdated. It's not as realistic as it might have been back in the day.
Interesting. Yeah, we struggle with that in the U.S. as well, where like the apprenticeship in general is not really a thing that's done, right, for U.S. teachers.
Oh, really?
And so they're
Okay.
trying to workshop like what could a new curriculum be for people trying to learn bonsai to go professional, but maybe
Right.
don't want to spend 6 years,
Yeah, for sure.
doing it.
For
Right?
sure.
And it's hard to do economically in the U.S. too. like,
Okay.
For a master to like take on a dependent essentially
Yeah.
for 6 years is tough. Very interesting. So I don't want to take too much of your time. I really appreciate you
Yeah,
doing
no
this.
worries.
But what has been your impression of the show and like how busy it's been compared to? Did you work the previous show, the 99th Kokufu
Yeah,
as well?
I was also here for the 99th one. I just definitely see that with the 100th event, the turnout rate is crazy in terms of how many people showed up, especially from abroad. And I just think like the enthusiasm, also kind of the aspect of how dedicated these people are to bonsai really kind of surprised me. Some of these people come like from Canada as well, where I'm from. And I didn't even know there's like a community back at home, right? So it kind of like blew my mind how there's a lot of people internationally that are interested in bonsai. It's just that the current state of bonsai and how it is, it seems like out of reach for a lot of the people just because there isn't as much information as there could be out there. And then also just because I believe like there's not too much of a younger generation that's kind of interested in more or less. It's not like necessarily gate kept, but there's also like a little bit of a nuance where like if you know, you know. If you don't, then like good luck.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to really kind of dig to kind of find more information about
Yeah.
it if there is anything around.
Interesting. I guess last thing, you mentioned your impression of Japanese bonsai is kind of declining somewhat because
Yeah.
of the aging population of people that do it. Could you touch on that a little bit more? Like for people who aren't familiar with the Japanese bonsai scene, like to me the trees here look amazing.
Right,
still,
right, yeah.
I mean, I guess it is everyone going all out for the 100th. Do you see like a glimmer of hope of like younger people getting into it, or you think that trend is kind of continuing of like maybe
Right.
maybe it'll shrink somewhat over the next 20, 30 years?
I mean, besides the whole, not the economic, but as a country itself, I understand we have like a declining population crisis. But besides that point, from what I hear from around myself, is that whenever there's like a new individual or someone that's really interested in bonsai, we're like, how can we make them feel welcome? How can we make them stay longer and make sure that whatever their interest within bonsai is grows within that? There's just this general, what's it called? General like image of
Attitude,
bonsai
or-
attitude of being an old man's hobby.
Yeah.
100%. Like you only see old man doing it is what they always say.
Yeah.
And then I guess like if as a young individual yourself, maybe like in your like early 20s doing it, they'll see you as oh you kind of have one of those like old man hobbies. Like I don't know if golf kind of fits into this as well, but like a little bit unapproachable, right? And I think as a young male even, like it's not something that can really stir up a really interesting conversation with maybe the opposite gender.
Well, with other people. Oh, that's true. Yes,
Yeah. I think that's one. Another thing I see is especially in Tokyo, I think we're just like physically limited in how much space we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Work also plays a big part because especially when you start doing bonsai, I kind of realize you have to water these plants every day. It's a little bit different from maybe other plants that maybe don't require water as often.
And it requires you to be pretty static, right?
Yeah,
like, you really can't move a lot.
Exactly.
A lot of bonsai, it's very difficult.
You know, you see a lot of young people that like to go to Korea, for example, as a holiday, right? Yeah. And then because you're unable to do that, or you need someone caretaker to take care of the bonsai, it becomes another burden or a responsibility they have to manage. So I think, you know, a combination of those things kind of factor into hindering the growth of bonsai as a hobby for a lot of the younger generation.
Totally. It's the same in the U.S. It takes a lot of sacrifices. But I can absolutely, like I live in San Francisco, which has relatively a lot of space for like a major city. You get a little bit more space than Tokyo, especially like sun, space with sun and plant stuff. So I can't imagine in Tokyo, some of the neighborhoods, it would be like almost impossible to have trees.
Oh, and the blazing heat too over here, like how it's very humid, plays a part where you need to accommodate for like a shade, and it goes into a lot of things. I think especially if you live anywhere besides the first floor, so second floor and above, the whole sun aspect of
exposure too, and
if
the wind.
You have any,
it makes sense. Well, this was very interesting. I really appreciate you taking the time, Kyle.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Thank you so much. Wow, it is a beautiful day here in Tokyo. It's really warmed up. We're about halfway through the Kokufu. I just spent, I don't know, maybe 3 hours walking through the show with Jacob Michaels. And I wanted to chat with you a little bit about how the walkthroughs went, and then also like how your experience has been on your trip so far.
No, I mean, I really enjoyed our last few hours that we spent together. It's bonsai it's funny. It's a solitary activity for the most part, but it's really best enjoyed among friends. So we just happened to run into each other, and then away we went. As far as impressions, I probably six in one hand, half dozen the other for which weekend was better. Just incredible trees. I would say, in my initial reaction, the word on the street is that they were holding off maybe 97th, 98th, 99th, not their best trees, in anticipation of this 100th show. But I gotta say, with the exception of, some just really, truly immaculate trees, a lot of the material, you can see how we as North American bonsai practitioners can get there. We have enough dedicated, talented professionals in the country at this point that if we continue on the progression that we are on, trying to push that limit, it's only a matter of time. Especially having come from the 25 nationals, there was fantastic trees, both in the classical style and more modern. I think we saw a lot of that this weekend, but just fantastic all around. Maybe it's my contrarian nature. I want to go and look for, what are those things that so often we put the Japanese artist on a monolith, this is how they do things, these are the rules. So I want to go in and look for all right, well, is there things that we're breaking the rules on, or maybe things that they're not doing as good as we, put them on the pedestal to do. You go through Kokufu 100, you can find trees that have crossed wires. You can find trees that don't have perfect nabaris. We're constantly improving. Even the best trees at the best show, there's still things that if you can nitpick, you can find places to improve. And that's, to me, the best enjoyment of bonsai is the continual striving to improve.
Yeah, as I bring some of my own trees more towards like show quality, and I'm feel like I'm on that path, it's kind of funny that now you always start noticing, oh, this isn't perfect, And when you're exactly right, when you're at Kokufu, you're seeing oh, here's a crossed wire, or here's this potential flaw or detail that could have been a little bit better. So it's interesting to see, even at the best show in the land, there's that degree of variation.
When we are trying to, as young practitioners, we want to get into it, and it's okay, well then we are given these rules of a tree must bifurcate, it should never trifurcate. But then you get out to these tertiary levels of ramification, and you will see those, three coming from a single location.
To get the show level density. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wanted to come back to, so it sounds like you're coming away from the show filled with hope for American bonsai. that's something I struggle with a little bit, because you see these trees and the age of these trees. Like we were talking about the Aichian tridents, for example, right?
Yeah.
And these are trees that have been developed over 3 generations, right? And these root over rock tridents that are ultra ramified and fine. And, that's probably not something we'll get to in our lifetime, right? And so there's both an aspect of, yes, some of this work is attainable, but then also some of these trees take multiple generations to create, so we might never have that in the US. So I'm curious how you think of that dichotomy, or if that bothers you at all.
I don't really think it does. Look at somebody like Seth Nelson or Peter T that come from IGN, and they're doing that work, and they're setting trees onto that path. I'm pursuing that, but it doesn't bother me that I may never get to that finished thing. I'm 33, I'll be 34 this year. If I'm fortunate enough to be a lifetime practitioner like a Bill V, and I'm doing it into my 80s, so that's 50 years. Maybe it won't be 4th generation IGN material, but my trees are going to be plenty ramified.
They're going to be pretty good, yeah.
So, I don't lose much sleep on that. And our level of conifer quality, we were talking about the kind of alligator skin on the deadwood of some of our high alpine Yamadori. There's hardly any trees that have that here. We have very, very special trees in North America. This podcast is brought to you by the screaming children of Ueno Park.
Ueno Park, yeah.
If you guys hear that. But yeah, so it doesn't bother me that I won't get to see it 100 years down the road, because I know that one of my favorite things is to yap about bonsai to other people that want to hear it. So to pass on the knowledge that my forebears have given me, and to continue to hope for the generations. So to have someone like yourself, myself, these other younger guys, when we're Bill's age, there will hopefully be those that put the phone down, put the electronics down, and reconnect with what connects us all, which is nature.
Yeah, I definitely feel, I've been doing bonsai for about 8 years now, 7 years, and I definitely feel like there's more practitioners that are younger that are putting in the work to actually get good at bonsai. I feel like my contemporaries are really putting in the work to, or peers or whatever you want to call it, right? Both professionals like you, as well as just non-professionals like Ryan and Pitts and different folks that I've worked with. I'm wow, these people are really getting good at bonsai. So I kind of agree with you, I definitely agree with you that yes, we might not have these 4th generation trees, but 50 years from now, with the way people are putting in the effort, we're going to have some really beautiful trees.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot higher density of really good trees. So the bench is getting deeper.
Yeah, I think so. And, there's this, I've heard, I think it was Seth Nelson and Julian Tsai talking about, there's almost a feeling of, I don't want to say fire sale, but trees must get sold in Japan because their population is declining. I really, really hope that not all of those trees disappear into China. I would love to see more and more of these kind of high quality specimens get into the US so that we can continue the work of the Japanese masters as well. That's something that I'm really hoping for. There was word on the street a couple years ago that our importation laws would become more relaxed. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm not giving up hope.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm of mixed feelings, right? I think that the fact that we can't import Japanese trees leads to, we have to build that ourselves if we want those, right? And so we have a very different market than Europe, for example, right? Where they can just bring these trees. For me, in this podcast, Bonsai Builders, a lot of my focus is on learning how to build trees, right? Sure. And so I've always felt more, for me, the hobby is, the pursuit is a lot more about being able to craft it myself. And so getting a, what I would say is a crafted item, a finished item, even though bonsai is never finished. It presents a whole different set of challenges, right? And all sorts of new skills to learn, to maintain and develop and further refine mature trees. But I wonder what that would do to the US market to suddenly, there's less onus on us to build trees. There's more of a, hey, you can buy a, high quality tree without learning those skills, that building process.
Yesterday I was fortunate enough to visit Mr. Kimura's garden, and of course Toryu no Mai is there and all of these wonderful Kicho bonsai, but then you look on the lower shelf and there is young material. And I've heard him speaking before. He has just as much fun developing less than 10-year-old material as he does working on a Kicho bonsai. And so It does not have to be a one or the other. I want those high quality specimens from Japan, from Taiwan. At the same time, I want to develop my own stuff.
Do you want to just tell us a little bit about where you're at in your apprenticeship journey, where Dogwood Studios is located, and what you guys do?
All that jazz, sure. So my boss, Tyler Sherrod, studied under the legendary, the eminent Shinji Suzuki up in Obuse. Mr. Suzuki's numerous claims to fame, one of them being that he holds the most Sakufu 10 Prime Minister Awards. If you're not familiar, the Sakufu 10 is the show in Japan that is for professionals. Professionals owned, putting their own trees into the show, and he has won that show most times. So Tyler, along with his senpai Matt Reel, were the two Americans to do the full apprenticeship with Mr. Suzuki. Their senpai, Michael Hagedorn, if you guys have not read his books, highly recommend. Also spent time up in Obuse, doing a 6 months here, 6 months back on a tourist visa. So coming from this lineage, it's not a specialist in deciduous, not a specialist in conifers or big bends. They
They do it all.
They do it all, and they do it all real well. I can think of a few other places I would recommend more highly than taking a visit up to Obuse if you are fortunate enough to come to Japan. And that was a big consideration when I chose where I wanted to apprentice, because I love deciduous trees. Those are the first bonsai I really got to work on and enjoy. But I also love pine trees.
You wanted to be well-rounded.
Yeah, and I wanted to specialize in everything. So there's that aspect of, let me say, that getting a bonsai from 90% developed to 100% refined, that skill is a specialist skill in and of itself. Not every garden in Japan specializes in things a little bit differently. And that's what Mr. Suzuki really excels at. He just has the touch and has imparted that upon my teacher. We love the elegant, we love the beautiful. We started on January 1st, 2024, and it's been a learning experience for sure. It's an interesting life,
I was talking with you about this a little bit earlier. It's really exciting to see this class of apprentices, American apprentices in America kind of coming up right now. And it's very inspiring for me to see all of you progressing and try to keep pace or follow along in your footsteps. So
100%.
I think it's an exciting time, or we're building for an exciting future for sure in American bonsai.
I wanted to promote a kind of collegiality in this kind of group that all started around the same time. You got Brandon with Ryan, Travis with Peter, Patch with Michael, and so on. It's cool that we all have different teachers that approach bonsai so differently, and I really appreciate and enjoy. I made a group chat for all of us just so we can keep in touch, and I would really want that collegiality with my colleagues, my peers.
Yeah, your contemporaries.
Yeah,
exactly.
As we come up.
I think it's so important. I mean, you see in Japan, they have these villages, essentially, that are created, and all these people are helping each other out. And, those are the people that you're going to be making bonsai with for the next, 60 years or however long we're lucky to be alive on this earth. So it makes sense to, it's in such a small community that we should really treasure it and try to foster it. 100%. So I love that you're doing that.
And someone like Julian, when I first did this, was very supportive of me, very encouraging. So that's someone that I can point to of, in that class above me, he's at, I think, 10, 12 years of bonsai practice. Do more, work harder, keep going. And so I love feeling it from my peers. You got someone like Patch that he's got a wife and kid at home, and then sometimes he's working as a custodian at night. And then on top of that, as an apprentice, it's like, my peers are grinding. I better grind. And so I love feeling that way, or knowing now Tokutake, how hard he works. He's a PhD.
He's a machine.
He's got a wife, 2 kids, and still makes time to make the best pots in the country. Who am I if I'm not giving my 100% every time I touch a tree? Because that's the kind of tree that deserves to go in a pot from now. So I like feeling it from both those peers, from my mentors, from my boss.
Totally.
And I get fired up on that.
Totally. Well, it's inspiring, and it for me at least, sometimes it pushes me in a way that, I don't know if it's a healthy way to be pushed, but it's like, I don't want to get left behind.
Yeah.
It's like, oh dang, I better, I don't really want to wire this tree today, but I bet Sam's wiring a tree today. That's that kind of thing.
Oh, I love his trees.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good. It's good to have those people to push you because it pushes the overall quality of everyone's work up. So
I've often thought of motivation like a battery. This is something that can be recharged. It's not something that is indefinite. It comes from nowhere and you're always going to be motivated. There are times that motivation is lacking.
Yeah, wanes and waxes.
Yeah, wanes and waxes. And there are these things that you can charge your battery on. And thinking of, I don't want to get left behind. I mean, this is a very related notion of, both you and I are enjoying studying Japanese. I visualize I'm going to have conversations with my friends and I want them to be stoked on the work that I'm doing. So I don't want to study Japanese right now. I don't feel like it. But I'm visualizing that conversation with my friend. Now I'm going to go to work. And I get that motivation from that pushing.
Interesting.
Mental push.
Yeah. I think that's something that you develop if you get good at bonsai or want to get good at bonsai is you need to be able to develop the ability to do things with a long-term mindset, right? Like really get enjoyment now from the things that are delayed gratification. Like you actually get the payoff in the future, but you need to find the way to get that gratification each time you touch the tree, even though you're not at the finished product yet, because, otherwise you're never going to make a tree that takes 10 years to make, so.
That is, I would say that is a part of apprenticeship that I really appreciate is because I made it my job to do bonsai full time, there is that it doesn't matter what I feel like that day. The work still needs to get done. Very much so emphasized by he signs my checks. But
Yeah.
there is that part of it of this insane thing that we love to do. If you don't do it, then your quality of tree is going to go down. What more reason do you need?
Yeah, I'm wondering, just like motivation can kind of ebb and flow, and maybe this is interrelated, but how does the discipline of apprenticeship come into your thought process? Like, I could just like cut a corner here today, or is that something that you struggle with at all? Of like doing your 100% quality of work all the time, or how do you keep that standard of work really high? Does that come from your master enforcing it upon you, or is it something
It's not something that he is pushing on me. It's something that he does leading by example, right? So anytime that I'm doing some work I don't want to do, I can look over to the other side of the studio, or I can know Tyler's driving 8 hours to St. Louis, and then he's going to work. And then he's going to drive back. There's anything he's asking me to do, I know he's done himself or he's doing right now. So there's that leading by example. And you get security from that, I guess, of, this is how you do it. This is what it takes to become a professional.
Yeah.
And a professional doesn't work when they feel like it. A professional works when the work needs to be done.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. And I think that's something that, like, as a hobbyist, you don't really get that same experience, right? Because you don't have to do the work, right? Like, yes, your tree quality might suffer, but you're not, like, there's not a client that's paid you or depending on you necessarily, right?
Now, us as younger practitioners, we're developing those habits now in our 30s. I find that those serious hobbyists, the people that are putting trees into the national show, overwhelming majority of them, that's not something that you have to tell them because they lived a professional life where they were doing that, whether they were high-level doctors, they were engineers, what have you, that kind of brain doesn't shut off when they retire.
That's true.
So it's a great way to transition from doing high-level professional work into high-level hobbying.
You're saying there is a I don't know, archetype of person who...
A correlation, yeah.
Yes, yeah, got it. It's not that they suddenly are doing bonsai and they have to develop this whole new skill set. It's complementary to like how they've been going through life.
Yeah, very much so. The discipline of the work I found to be a correlation between those kind of high-level hobbyists.
Makes sense. Yeah, or they're just really interested in it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they really want to do it.
You go down the rabbit hole. And bonsai. So I got the opportunity last weekend, and if you guys heard this story on Black Pondo, I'm sorry, but I got into all of this from being a sailor, getting tattooed. I was in Hawaii, and I started receiving traditional Japanese tattooing from a man whose name is Tatsutoshi. Tatsutoshi is a handful of years older than I am, became like an older brother to me, and he got me into bonsai. He got into bonsai because his Tabori sensei is an older man, Horitoshi the First, and he has bonsai. And And I got this opportunity last weekend to walk the show Kokufu 100 with the two of them, Tatsutoshi.
So cool.
Yeah, so it was a very
That's
cool,
such a unique experience.
full circle moment for me. But as we were walking around, Tatsutoshi and I were talking about this is a hobby. We're talking about the deep end of the pool here. We're talking about we want to explore this as deep as it will go. But it's also beautiful in that you don't have to treat it this way. It can just be like a little garden thing. It's something you can explore it as little or as much as you want to, which I also appreciate.
You got to build a base so that other people can, build
Yeah.
on top of that.